What's going on, family? Welcome back to the Two Knicks Chicks podcast. I'm your girl, Lady, and the chef.
And I'm D-Blox21. Welcome.
Of course, welcome to a whole nother episode. I think this is episode 3. So welcome back, everybody. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and yeah, let's get this party started. So NBA preseason wrapped up. How do you feel like the Knicks did?
Um, they could have, the kids said they could have done better. I get there, you want to, rest their marquee players and which is because it really don't count for anything for much. Uh, I guess it's the new guys and you get the two-way guys, let them, see what they can do to see if they're worth keeping. So, I'm neutral. And what about you?
No, for me, to me, I didn't really see anything fantastic from the Knicks. I mean, to me, it was just it felt one, the preseason felt long, and then two, I didn't really see anything that impressed me. I guess once we ease into the season, that's where it's like showtime. So for me, that's where I want to see some changes being made or see if there's any changes, if any. But for me, I guess also because Tibbs kind of went with the second unit, he went with the bench guys. You saw Fournier
Mhm.
get a couple of minutes, which I don't foresee Fournier getting any minutes during the regular season. But for me, it was just, I didn't really see anything that stood out for me that made me go, you know what, wow. Or I saw any particular two or three players that had a connection. I didn't see anything that blew me away. So I'm happy that we're rolling into the regular season. I know tonight kicks off a couple of games. I
A
think
lot of West
Denver's
Coast
playing,
games. Yeah.
right? Um, LA. But the Knicks do play tomorrow night, which is the home opener, season opener for them against Boston. So that should be a very good game. Do you have anything you're looking out for in the home opener game against them, against
Um,
Boston?
well, yeah. They need to have some again, your defense. I like how you discuss no settling, active hands. You definitely gotta, you watch the ball. There's a few things, and now you got to worry about the individual players.
Right,
So
right.
there's a lot that that they need to, I guess, crack down. I guess make a statement. You don't want Boston coming in and just steamrolling you. You know,
Right.
they beat you in the preseason, okay, but this is your home and it's your opener. You know the Garden's gonna be packed, sold out
Right,
as
right.
per usual, which is to be expected. But just there's a lot of things. The floor space, and they could take care of. That's amongst a few things.
Yeah. I think one of the key things for the Knicks this season is definitely defense, but for sure getting out on the perimeter is going to
Yeah.
be key. The Knicks have horrible perimeter defense. They're always like a step one or two too slow getting out to the 3-point line and guarding the three. And
Hmm.
teams tend to kill the Knicks on the 3-point line. So I think definitely securing rebounds, boxing out on guys, not allowing teams to get second, third, fourth, fifth chances,
Hmm.
whether it's on the defensive end or the offensive end. Protecting home court this year is important also. I don't want to see the Knicks giving up, especially to teams that are beatable. So
Yeah.
I would like to see the Knicks take advantage of, your Charlottes. We know Detroit, you can beat them. You can beat Atlanta, and just
Hmm.
Orlando, teams that you should be beating, get those wins, secure those wins, and then challenge yourselves and go after those teams like your Utahs, like your Denvers, like your,
Hmm.
LA teams that you should be also challenging yourself to be Milwaukee, who we always came close to beating last season, but we didn't quite finish and actually get the W. So I think just getting their stamp and making their mark out against these teams is going to be very important and getting those wins because every win counts. So I
Yeah.
think
Whether
with
you're
that,
home. You
Go
know,
ahead.
whether you're home or away. Yep.
Right. I think one thing that I noticed with the Knicks season, they a lot of their games are against some really tough opponents. So the start of the season is not an easy road for the Knicks. They're going to be going against. Uh, I know we have after Boston Friday we play against Atlanta. Saturday we have New Orleans. Tuesday we go against Cleveland. It's a back to back, and then we play them again on Wednesday. And then Friday they play Milwaukee of next week. So, and then it just kind of continues to build and build from there on. But I think, where do you see the Knicks record by, I would say, Thanksgiving?
Um, even those few games, I mean, what's that? That's the first like 7 games or something. I mean, I'm high, I have high expectations for the Knicks as a lot of fans. And you they're capable. So I mean, I was definitely see them, by Thanksgiving, what this is October. I would, I didn't really know how many games they play, but between the season open and Thanksgiving, I had the numbers, but I would definitely say at least 15 or better. What's your expectations for them?
I think I would have the Knicks at again, I didn't count exactly how many games, but that's roughly about close to 20 games, 18 to 20 games by then.
Hmm.
So I would say I'll put the Knicks at mm, if we can be hypothetically, if that's 20 games, if the Knicks could at least snag 13, 14 of those, that would be nice.
Yeah,
At least, because okay, you starting off because the Knicks tend to start off slow.
yeah.
They tend to start their season slow and then they gradually build up, which is fine. My thing is if you're going to start off slow, you need to have a consistent pace, not win two or three and then you lose three or four, or you win one, lose one, then you win the next two. It's important to have a consistent flow of your wins throughout the season and not to lose gas in the postseason. I know it's a
Mhm.
long season, guys tend to get tired, but I think that keeping that energy is important. And I actually was watching the Knicks had posted on their YouTube channel today. They posted you know how like the New York Liberty would do those behind the scene
Oh,
coverage videos,
yeah, yeah.
like that documentary style. So the Knicks posted where it was media day, which was back in like the first week of this month of October. So they had
Mhm.
footage of that and they sat each player down one on one in front of the camera and just was asking them like, what are their expectations this season? And a lot of the guys kept bringing up continuity and how they all have a connection and they gel together and how it should be easy for them. And the goal, I know Julius said is to go to the next level and to pick it up, which I think is
Mhm.
important. You know what I mean? Like that's a must. But when I was I actually had the chance to go to the Nothing But Knicks MBK live podcast event at Legends in Midtown. Shout out to Sim, Steph, the whole MBK family. I had a great time there. I know they're having another live event, podcast event tomorrow at Legends. So if anybody's in Midtown in the city, go. It's a ton of fun. Legends also has really good wings. They make really good drinks. So I definitely highly recommend. But one of the things that Sim was asking me was like, what do I think that the Knicks need? And one of the things, and I know in that video I watched on the Knicks podcast, Mike Breen was talking about continuity. And I saw someone in the chat when I watched the replay say, everyone keeps talking about continuity, but the Knicks also
Mhm.
need talent. And I think that, it's not to me, it's not that the Knicks don't have good enough talent. I think that the Knicks need to work on being better as a team shooting wise.
Yeah,
You can't just have Brunson and Randall making all the shots. It needs to be your Grimes stepping up. RJ needs to step in
exactly.
shots.
That
Hart, the
yeah,
right,
yeah. Better shot selection.
right. Better shot selection. Not and one thing I mentioned on the podcast is not settling for the three
Yeah,
because
for
the Knicks
sure.
tend to settle for threes, like case in point what the Liberty did in Game 4 in the finals, and that loses them games because instead of driving or going for the mid range, or even some, like little things like Hartenstein. He's right near the basket, or Mitch. Why are you throwing the ball out to the 3 point line? I would like to see guys attack the basket, show no mercy, and just be aggressive every night and every game.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, go back to the 90s Knicks with the physicality. Like
Yeah,
I would like to see more of that with the Knicks. With the shot selection and like there's you can't not never mention D. When you talk in defense when you're talking about the Knicks. That's important. Um, not settling. So I that's what I'm looking for.
yeah, I agree. I think my question to you is like, we know that the Knicks, we want them to make the playoffs. They made it to the semis, playoffs last year. But I think for this year, what do you think the Knicks need to do to be contenders? Or what will it take for them to be contenders this season to get further than last year?
Well, definitely, the last season is something to build on. And you got to figure out things that you can do and that you didn't do,
Right.
and that you don't carry over those bad, habits or just the ball playing. You should have done. There should be a lot of improvement because you went far, which a lot of people counted the Knicks out. But for me, um, and I know people's using that continuity, but they need to mesh and build up to continuity. Like so, that's important. Um, you know, the power forward position, they're talking about who's coming behind Randall, I think they need something a little bit stronger, but we it's too early to know how's he play he's gonna play and how he's gonna hold up to it. Talk
Mm.
about topping. Um right now, yeah, like
His brother?
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Jacob Toppin. Yeah, they talking about may play the power forward position. Come behind Julius. Um, you know, not settling, just your perimeter D. So that these are things that can get them over to the next phase and help them push forward. Into the playoffs.
Hmm.
Protect home court for sure.
Yeah.
That's important, you know. Um, yeah, right now that's what I could think of. And what's your take on it? What are you looking for?
Well, I think for the Knicks to be contenders, they have to be hungry. They have to
Oh
want
yeah.
it. Unlike what
Mhm.
Julius said when he said last season, I guess they wanted it more. So do you want it more is my question.
Which is an asinine response, but hey.
Right. So I think that looking at, do the Knicks want it more? Do they want to continue to fight every night and not give up on plays? If you get the ball stolen from you, are you running down the other end? Because a lot of times last season, I would even say two people I saw that would hustle back was Brunson and Hart. So
Mm,
maybe having a guy, I think like DiVincenzo on the team, who comes from a teams like Milwaukee and comes from the Warriors,
yeah,
he
the
knows
winner
not just what
culture.
it takes to get to the postseason, but how to hustle, because those teams hustle and die for those loose balls and do all the little intangibles. Um,
Hmm.
but I
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
the Knicks have to just, be able to gel together, be able to come together and mesh, and to be able to, one of the things I spoke about too on Sim's podcast was, the Knicks, I think they're also missing leadership. And I think seeing that from somebody like Randall, and, Sim was saying Randall definitely is capable, but he has to know how to do it, provide that leadership in the right context, where it's taken by other guys on the team in the right way. And, where
Hmm.
he has to remain level headed, But at the same time, you have to be a leader. And I think, a lot of the other guys, the Knicks are still a young team. But a lot of the other guys, it'd be nice if they see that leadership and somebody who's like, look, let's get this W. This is what I need you to do. Make sure you coming around this when we running this play, whatever that may be, whether it's on the court during the game or after the game during practice, that leadership needs to be there and not the individuality of like, yeah, sure, we know, Randall, you can give us
Hmm.
20, 25 a night, 30 points a night. You can give us 12 to 15 rebounds. That's great, but it's a team effort. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just don't want to see that. To me, I was sharing with someone like I felt like when Randall saw Brunson came to the Knicks, he was, I don't know if it was like a sense of jealousy, but like we all know whose team that is. That's Jalen
yeah.
Brunson's team, just because it is his team. I mean, Randall, I'm not taking away from his play, but that's Brunson's team. Brunson carried them every night. Not
Yeah.
some nights, not, I know people will get on Brunson's defense, but to me, he carried the team. But I just think collectively, as far as what they're going to need to be contenders, it's definitely going to have to be defense. It's definitely going to have to be togetherness. And I think that leadership is going to help carry them further along when they get in those tough spots.
Well, I mean, I disagree. Yeah, Brunson, he did carry them, but you got to realize, and I'm not a president of Randall fan club. I'm not a member. I don't subscribe, but Randall did, yeah, he was hot headed and this and that, but he did a lot for us to get there. He was averaging a double double, and this was on a consistent basis. So it wasn't like,
Agreed.
he had these off games. I mean, there was times where he took over just as well as Brunson. So
Yeah.
I think some people can say Brunson's, and there's going to be a lot of people that can say Randall. Oh, because look what he did. So I mean, right now I'm like I'm neutral for the most part. But
Hmm.
as but this season, it's gonna be a lot to see, hopefully, and with and it's not so much as whose team, it just working together collectively, like a cohesive unit. That's what you have to do to get those W's. There's
Yeah.
gonna be nights where Randall may be off, vice versa, Brunson. So now, now it's up to the other guys to step up.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
think that's key too. Like a lot of times where there was those rare games where Randall was off, who else was stepping up besides Brunson? Because RJ, he still hasn't developed being able to be a better shooter. Hopefully this season we'll see it, but I'm not
Mhm.
holding my breath. Trying to wait for him to be able to knock down a solid three or a mid-range shot and making free throws as well as layups. That was something else that he's been struggling with throughout his career. So
Yeah.
even Josh Hart, like a lot of times he'll get a nice steal, he'll go down, and then he's too fast for his own good, and he'll miss that easy put in or layup. And those are timely, costly baskets that we're missing. Even like Mitch, I don't see where Mitch has worked on his free throws. He looks like he's there's no arc on his free throw shot. He's shooting the ball to like straight at the rim
Well,
instead
well,
of putting some arc on the ball.
well, we know what we're gonna get from Mitch. We're not gonna get a double double, for the most part, but we will get some rebounds. The defense is there.
Yeah,
I'm
defensively it
not
is.
gonna put too much stock in Mitch, but to piggyback, with the RJ, I think that the FIBA will help him because he was coached by some of the best coaches. So he got same thing Brunson and Hart. They learned different things that they probably didn't know.
Yeah.
So I think that the FIBA will help elevate all three of their game for the most part. Definitely RJ. You know, they beat us. So that's a lot. I mean, not that he was the whole Canada, but that's why it's important, it's vital for players to, you know, get an opportunity to play in those type of settings. because you learn from the best coaches that things that you really probably didn't even know, or they
Yeah.
show you different things, the court presence and things like that. So, hopefully that'll help elevate his game.
Yeah, Randall also, considering he said that he never watched tape. So
No.
hopefully with the off season and him watching tape, he'll be able to be like, wow, like, because I think that Miami series, a couple of Knicks players were exposed,
Mm,
like Randall at times when he didn't have much of a handle to be able to get past certain players. Like Bam played defense well, but I don't think Randall had enough moves under his belt as far as
hmm.
actually dribbling the ball to be able to get around whoever was defending him. Whereas Brunson knows how to get around guys because he's very crafty with the handle. And
Yeah,
RJ, I think what stopped him was RJ knows how to drive to the basket well. The problem was RJ, he wasn't making down shots. So a
yeah, you
lot
got
of
to
people were
finish.
gonna right, they were leaving him open because they're like, well, he's not his percentage is very low. He's streaky. He's not gonna hit the shots. And then I think the same thing with Grimes. No, okay, like Steph was saying, shout out to Steph. She said, I'm not holding my breath, hoping that Grimes is gonna help bring the ball down the court. But Grimes got to know how to stop stopping his dribbles too soon. And now
Mm,
you looking now you stuck with the ball, and now you got to try to keep your pivot. Stop doing that. You know what I mean? So it's little things like that that I'm like, like I was saying earlier with Hartenstein, like you get the ball, shoot the floater. You right there. Why are you turning
yeah.
around and throw it out to the 3-point line when you're right near the basket? And you hear Clyde say that a lot when he's commentating the
Hmm.
games. He's like, folks, you're right under the basket. Why? I don't
Yeah.
understand why these guys are throwing the ball back out. So I think it's just making smarter decisions as a whole,
That's
like
something
you
they
said,
said.
as a team,
Hmm.
versus just like making these silly mistakes. Like, don't make the game harder for yourselves. Play smarter,
Smarter.
And then these guys, you stretching Tibbs out. At this point, he's going to have one strand of hair by the end of the season if the Knicks keep making these silly, dumb mistakes. So at the you can't comb that back anymore at this rate. He's their strands are coming looser and looser. Um, did you notice that quickly the Knicks didn't sign him to an extension?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know what? It's a business, and you know, there's a lot of why didn't he? And um, I, I, I think they're gonna use him for as a trade bait. That's what I think they're gonna do. Because if you wanted to sign him, you could have. Not that you. I mean, I don't know the whole ins and outs, but I think that they're gonna use him as trade bait, because he's marketable.
Yeah,
And you got DiVincenzo that can do the same thing he does with experience. So it's disappointing because I think that quickly is an asset for the Knicks. He's young, he's
agree.
only going to get better. Um, but this is the Knicks front office, and this is they're notorious for doing these type of moves. And so, but let's hope. Who knows, after this season they may surprise us if he's still around, after the trade deadline. So we'll see. But it was very disappointing that they didn't sign him. You know.
But do you think that the Knicks possibly would have kept quickly if maybe we didn't have Fournier still stuck under our belt? Because for me, I think part of the issue is we have too many guards.
uh, for sure.
And unfortunately, you have a lot of the other guys under quickly who they're not asking for these high salaries or trying to get the bigger bag. And to me, Quickly's deserving of it, but like you said, he is an asset. But and to me, I agree with you 100%. I think this is a front office move that they're using to be able to say, okay, well, we got to swap him out and see if we can get someone
Hmm.
else in. But my thing is, if you're gonna do that, bring in somebody who is an asset and who's gonna be able to do something.
Oh, for
Because to
sure.
me, the Knicks need like that third player who's gonna be able to bring something to the table. Right now, it's just falling on two guys, mainly on
Yeah.
two guys to bring the scoring. Because again, I want to say RJ too, but RJ has these slow starts, and maybe he won't this season. But even if he don't, are the shots gonna be going down? Are
I
you gonna be consistently making those shots down for us on a nightly basis? But with Quickly, do you think that if we would have been able to get rid of Fournier, which clearly that tells you no one really is fishing out for Fournier with that high contract? Because if somebody was interested, they would have inquired.
Yeah,
But Fournier's making 19 million or 18, 19
this
million.
season. Yeah,
No one is interested in Fournier. You know what I mean? Fournier's not a horrible player, but on the defensive end, but it's funny because Steph has read off stats, and when Fournier was in, the Knicks defensively did better. But to me, and again, I know it wasn't just because of Fournier, but when I watch Fournier play defense, he plays defense almost like he's afraid to hurt himself or get hurt. And it's
yeah,
not that effort like you see like with maybe like a Grimes or Quickly or Deuce McBride, where it's like that aggressive, or Josh Hart, it's more of an aggressive style D. It's a little too full back D, and I'm like, yo, you got to get up on your guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
some guys are just not known for their defense, and unfortunately, we have to accept it as fans. Every player, yeah, that is one of the fundamentals, but they will never be known as for their defense. Offense, yeah. And the other things that they could may give you a steal here, whatever, a block, but defense, if you're counting on that, then the game is over. Right in X. And he will never be known for his defense. So I'm gonna just face it. But yeah, to your point, I think that if Fournier wasn't on the team, or they can, get rid of him, his salary, it's a possibility that Quickly could have gotten that bag. It's so unfortunate. You know, but who knows? Maybe they got something up their sleeves, the Knicks. We just don't know.
Yeah,
Or everybody could speculate, but you just don't know.
yeah. Quickly's definitely someone's gonna teams are gonna inquire for Quickly for
Oh yeah,
sure.
for sure.
I think it's just a matter, and it sucks because I like Quickly. I think it's just a matter of what are the Knicks gonna do as far as who are they gonna take in as that swap. And I think to some degree, a big part of the degree, the Knicks need to figure out a way to get rid of Fournier.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you gotta figure something out by the end of the season. You can't keep why if you're not even gonna it's what at this point we're wasting time, you know what I mean? Like just make the move, get someone else in that'll
Mhm.
be a better asset to the team. And right now the Knicks have too many guards. We got a lot of these shooting guards.
With guard, yeah, loaded with guards.
Right. We need more taller, bigger guys who are going to be able to be an asset to the team as well. Because, yeah, we got Mitch and Hartenstein, and then you do have Sims, but Sims is still not ready yet on the
Yeah,
offensive level. So I just think Sims is in great shape. You
yeah,
know
he
what I
is.
mean?
Yeah.
He takes care of his body, but I think on the offensive level, you're not really going to get much from this guy. You may get a
Yeah.
layup here and there, a dunk, but I think
Hmm.
we need someone else who could contribute
Right
as
now.
that five spot player, that center player. But the I saw ESPN has the Knicks for this season at 46 and 36.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which to me is kind of low. I think I had them at like 50, at
Yeah.
least 50 to 52 wins this season.
Yeah, I definitely say that they're 50-32. I mean, I think I put them a little higher myself, but I'm gonna lower that and just go about 50-32.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's fair.
yeah,
I
we'll
think the
see.
Knicks could pull out at least 50 wins because, I think as a team too, and this was one of the things ESPN wrote in the article, and it came out today. They did every team's ranking for this season.
Hmm.
And one of the things they were saying with the Knicks, which is exactly what I'm thinking, is can the Knicks get to where they were last season if not better, or will they regress and go back and then become a flat team again? So I think that, like, when you're a team in any sport and you make it into the playoffs and you get pretty far in the playoffs, you're held up to a standard, not just by like your teammates and the coaching staff and the front office, but the fans too. And it's like, you can't go back to just, well, we didn't even make the playoffs. Like, that's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, you
You know
can't
what
be
I mean?
mediocre.
You can't go backwards at this point. You guys have proved that you can make it when you won eight,
Mhm.
9, 10 in a row. You were winning 4 in a row, 5 in a row. You can't go backwards. You have to go forwards this season and get better and try to go further. It's possible. They
Yeah,
can make
and to me, that should be fuel for them. Like,
it.
and along with motivation, to know that, we were this close and, we can get there and we are capable of getting there. Um, and hope, with they didn't do much, roster changes, but outside of bringing in D Vincenzo, I botches his name up, DV, but bringing him in,
Dante.
and then Toppin's brother, but I mean, I don't think he's not going to be a huge asset
No,
for us. But
no.
you still got your core group and build off of that.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks, like I said, I think the biggest threats for the Knicks this season, at least on the East Coast, is definitely going to be Boston, because they're definitely gotten better.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and Boston, I'm sure for them, like you said, they're holding themselves accountable because it's like they fell short last season,
Yep.
which was not expected of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just like with the Knicks, people are not going to expect them to go far this year. They may think, oh, last year was a lucky season.
Yeah.
So if they can go far this season, then it just shows like this team is for real and they are serious, because they surprised a lot of people last year. The Knicks, people
Oh, for
didn't
sure.
expect them to go far. They were like, wait a minute, something's happening here. And I think that's needed, because unfortunately the Giants are struggling, the Yankees struggled, the Mets were trash.
Nobody
So
knows about.
you need some kind of winning in sports going on in New York. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the fans are looking for some more excitement and something that's
That's
going on.
yeah.
And that's going to be needed. So the Knicks got to just keep, take it game by game. And I wanted to use one of the things that Tibbs be saying. I forget what he says when he Tibbs says the same thing in every press conference. I'm like, you got to switch it up. The responses, you can't keep saying the same thing. Where he says something like, follow, we're gonna follow the plays and we're gonna keep following game by game. What he says, but yeah, I think that for this season, that's something that is needed on just in general, that excitement that I know they could bring.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree.
So yeah, I think we pretty much are on the same page as far as rankings for the Knicks. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Um, what about the lineup? You think they should who's you think they should keep the same lineup? Randall, Brunson, RJ, Grimes, and who was the other?
Mitch.
Oh, Mitch.
Forgot about Mitch.
Sorry, Mitch.
No, sometimes I question us having Grimes as a starter. And even there's been times where I said maybe RJ should come off the bench and play with the second unit. But I think sometimes with Grimes, maybe we should have him come off the bench and maybe, I don't know, maybe put Josh Hart in instead of him, and have him come in instead, because you need quickly to bring up the ball with the second unit. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't really say, well, have quickly come in, even though maybe that would, yeah, you have to, because Grimes doesn't really, not that he can't handle the ball. He's played point guard, but Grimes doesn't really bring up the ball like that. He's more of a shooting guard. But if I had to swap and switch, I would do that. I would bring in Grimes, with the second unit with Hart, Hartenstein, quickly, and I feel like I'm missing somebody because isn't it? Um, I feel like it's probably Randall that would still be in.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's usually Randall, and then maybe they'll swap eventually. Then Tibbs will do a timeout, and then he'll take quickly out and bring Brunson back in. But
Mhm.
I do like Grimes for his defense. But sometimes with the starting lineup, I don't know. It's and again, Grimes could prove me wrong, but it comes off a little flat for me with Grimes.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I'm like, maybe we should swap him out sometime. Like I wish Tibbs would play around with that, and maybe sometimes like I don't know, maybe try to put Josh Hart in the starting lineup and sit Grimes down and see how that works out. And then even sometimes with this season, like maybe let's put because now you have DiVincenzo and you got the other guy that also played with
With
Hart and Brunson. What's his name?
no, DiVincenzo.
No, the
Oh,
other guy,
Archie Nada.
Archie.
What's
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So you know, I feel like okay, because we don't have Fournier playing, you could bring Archie in and let's try
Mhm.
him and have him
It,
come off the curl and shoot those threes and those corner shots and those 3-point shots.
it sounds good in theory, but hypo hypothetically, no. Like Tibbs is one of those coaches where he's stuck,
Yeah,
and if you're a player's coach, you're gonna play. Um, and not to mention, I think basketball's like one of the only sports where it's a confidence thing. Like if they're not starting, their confidence dwindles, and you don't see that in football and baseball. Basketball is a temperamental sport,
it is.
and I think when guys that when they come off the bench and they don't start, and if they're used to being starters, I don't know. It does something to them.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to start, but everybody can't because you only put 5 guys on the court. So I think Tibbs is going to definitely keep that same lineup from last year.
right.
And let's hope and hopefully this year he get a consistent lineup because he played with the lineup quite a few, before
Yeah, in the
December.
beginning, he was doing a lot of that changing up so he can get to his final 9-man rotation, which is
Yeah.
fine. I get that. But I
Hmm.
just feel like, you know, I don't know. I like Tibbs doing that, and I agree. Tibbs is one of those guys. He sticks to the same routine. He's more of an old school style coach.
Yeah.
And in some cases that works, like Popovich. They have a system
Mhm.
down. They know what they're doing. And Tibbs does teams that Thibodeau goes to, they do tend to do better. So he is a good coach. I'm not going to take that from him. Like I've never been
Mhm.
one of those fans that was like, "Oh, get rid of Tibbs." Do I
Yeah.
question sometimes some of the things that he does in a rotation? Yes. But I never was one of those fans like, "Get rid of Tibbs." I don't, what is he doing or whatever? No. But I think as far as the rotation goes, it would be nice sometimes to switch that up and to see like, okay, well, let's see, maybe put Hart in and or try with DiVincenzo. I mean, now you have a couple of little like options because DiVincenzo, he's quick, he can shoot the three, he plays
Mhm.
defense. So he's that Swiss Army knife. He can give you a little bit of everything. So it's
Yeah.
to me, as long as the Knicks stay healthy as a team, you know what I mean? Like that's going to be important too, the health of the team throughout the season. And if these guys can stay healthy, that's going to help them
Mhm.
in the long run. But I would like to see Tibbs try to like maybe try and swap out one guy and let me try him. And if he sees something going there, keep running with that. You know what I mean? And try to switch it up.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, well, let's hope, and things last season the good can carry over and take us there.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Well, it's a long season, so we're gonna definitely have a lot of episodes to cover. We definitely gonna have to talk about tomorrow's game. So we'll definitely do a post game recap of the game against Boston, tomorrow's game, because I'm gonna be watching and talk, to look at the points that we've been making. How's the defense? How does the offense look? Boston's gonna come out strong. It's imperative the Knicks come out strong.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna be looking on both ends of the floor to see, what are the Knicks doing, and just each game, just really looking and diving deep into, like, are the Knicks, am I seeing improvements? Are we seeing those same lackadaisical plays that we saw? It's too early in the season to see that anyway, but I think every game counts. Make it
For
count.
sure. Yeah. There's gonna be count towards your record. There's no oh well this don't count. Yeah, every game counts.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
preseason is over. It's the real deal.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. You
Well,
have anything else?
I predict we're gonna get a win.
Oh, you got New York winning against Boston?
Yeah. You don't?
No, I don't think that
Yeah.
the Knicks could lose. I think it's, if anything, it's gonna be a close game.
Oh, yeah,
I think
definitely
it's
for
definitely
sure.
gonna be, because you gotta hold Tatum, you gotta hold Brown.
And then you got Holiday, so don't forget
Right.
about him.
And now they
He
got
was a
Porzingis.
yeah, he was a nice swap for Marcus Smart. He
Oh
can do the
yeah.
same intangibles Marcus Smart can do it and better, and he has a championship under his belt. So
Yeah.
that was a nice swap for them, And Porzingis, he can hit the three.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, and which, that's the problem when you have those bigs who could step behind the perimeter,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because now Mitch is caught in between a rock and a hard place. He's like, do I go out? And then the
Yeah.
problem with the Knicks is that we double team too much. So we
And,
always leave that one player open, and all those other teams are smart. They swing the ball
and
and they
then
get it to that open guy. They get the nice ball
yeah.
down in the paint and they dish it down, and now they get an easy dunk or an easy layup. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something else that the Knicks are gonna have to work on. Like, they gotta talk to each other on a defensive end. That's
Yeah,
again
for
where that
sure.
leadership comes in place. Like, talk to
Mhm.
each other,
Yeah,
So
communication is definitely
right,
key. Yeah,
right.
and they gotta hold those guys. Oh, let me show you something. You can't see that, right?
You
Yeah.
gotta move it. You gotta move it back.
Let me see.
No, not that far. No, you gotta move it up. You moving it to the
Oh,
side.
I
You
heard
can't
that.
see it. You gotta show the
You can't
people.
see. Oh man.
You probably should tap your phone because your light is like, you can't see it.
Now it's made it
What is
worse.
it?
It was the Knicks this little on my phone. They're opening.
Is
What
that the
is
app
it?
or the website?
The app.
Oh,
With
okay.
that. Yeah. Only didn't have that on. All right. Well, you got anything else?
No, that was all for me today. We'll be back to definitely do post game coverage of the Knicks home opener tomorrow against Boston. Um, I'm looking forward. I'll be watching that game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be looking out too for MBK. They're gonna be live tomorrow before the game. So
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna be at Legends tomorrow. So anybody who's in NYC and Midtown, they're at Legends at 6 West 33rd Street. Go there, go support them. Legends is huge. They have really good drinks. They have happy hour, amazing wings.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and good customer service there. So go support MBK fam. I know Sim will be there. Steph, aka Queen. There'll be a lot of other people in the building supporting them. So I'll be watching. I won't be there live with them, but I'll definitely be watching and then watching a game. And then we'll be back for post game coverage. And we'll digest that game down before Friday's game. So it'll
Hmm.
be like a double whammy because we'll do post game and then pregame for Friday's game.
Yep. We'll be back. Well, again, this is another episode of Two Nicks Chick. Thank you for watching. And again, like, subscribe, leave a comment on what you want to hear us talk about or what we possibly didn't discuss or could have. Your feedback is most definitely appreciated. Um, so we're gonna sign off. Lady in the chat.
Peace.
Peace.